All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. You know, I have been somewhat trying to do my due diligence to follow this Kavanaugh hearing. And I can't help but to reflect back on the early 90s when then President George W. Bush Sr. was recommending, or he did recommend Clarence Thomas, which is now Justice Thomas, to be the 9th member of the Supreme Court. And don't quote me on that. I'm sure I'm in the ballpark. It was one of them, all right? But what's disturbing to me about all this is that they are calling the Democrats and everybody, you know, they want time, but the Republicans are trying to push this and rush this thing through. But they want time. They want time concerning an investigation for Kavanaugh. But the Republicans want to push this thing and get it right through. To hear what these allegations are, what this lady is allegedly saying. Now, to me, it's I mean, is there some type of statute of limitations on these sexual allegations? I mean, after all, if there's no record, isn't that the way the law works? If there's no record, then it's unfounded. You know what I mean? That literally just unfounded allegations. But 37 years later, you know, it's amazing to me in this process that nothing is important until someone either is elected or selected to a public office, then the mudslinging starts, or being nominated to the Supreme Court. These things lie dormant for 37 years in Kavanaugh's case. And nothing was said. It wasn't even important. Now all of a sudden we resurrect these and everybody's in their emotions. They're in their feelings. And this is just an atrocity. And now, mind you, this is what's comical and laughable to me about this whole entire situation. In the age of sexual revolution, if I can use that, when in the 90s, it was a literal abomination. It was an abomination to even consider, to even think that the Supreme Court, like today, would pass homosexuality as an alternative lifestyle. When in the 60s, it was literally considered a mental disorder. Man, how things have evolved. We have a president in office that apparently gropes women. He has had sexual relationships with this woman named Stormy Daniels or whatever. Money paid. I'm talking about some gangster stuff going on. And he's still in office. And we got Bill Clinton, who turned around and, I did not have any sexual relationship with that woman. Talking about Miss Lewinsky. And come to find out, he lied. And he got impeached, but he still stayed in office to finish his term. It's nonsensical to think that both male and female up there in that circus up there called the outhouse, the White House, that all this stuff is not going on. It is going on. It goes on in every place you can think about. But what's disturbing to me is in this sexual revolution that we had and everything and stuff, and that they act like that people going out and doing all these things is somehow surprising. It's appalling. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever at all. Considering today that we can't even define morality. We don't even know what is immoral anymore. We have no compass, no moral compass whatsoever at all at the highest levels of office in the United States of America. We are morally decayed. We are spiritually bankrupt. And as a society, literally inept, we are dumb, dormant, docile, demonized, demoralized. We are screwed up as a society. Literally. And that's the reason why I'd advocate, man, get your children away from all this perversion. Because if you don't, they're going to get... I'm 52 years old. We're not even going to recognize this world in another 20 years. I mean, can you imagine what you see now? you can only imagine what you're going to see later on. And the reason why everybody is trying to find just a nitpick of this little thing to make sure that this guy doesn't get confirmed is because they don't want another conservative, allegedly conservative, in the Supreme Court, because that's a lifetime appointment. Well, I remember the Clarence Thomas hearing. It was an old-fashioned political lynching. Never before in the history of this country has any justice ever went through that type of scrutiny. If you got tape on it, when I get home, I'm going to see if I can get on YouTube, and I'm going to see if I can find some of that tape on that Clarence Thomas hearing just to refresh my mind in 1991. Because, man, they were raising teetotal hell. And you know the reason why they were doing that? All because he was a black man. What in the world? I mean, President George W. Bush Sr. is the one who actually sent him forth for the nomination. And, man, it took the FBI 3 days to investigate the allegations of that woman at the time by the name of Anita Hill. Do y'all remember this stuff? All right. Come to find out that Anita Hill, like a lot of these women do, flat out lied. That's what FBI said. The allegations are unfounded. They're false. We're going forward. It wasn't until in October, they did investigation, I think in September of 91. It wasn't until October that Clarence Thomas, even after everybody heard Anita Hill, ended up getting confirmed. He said, man, I never in my life seen, I mean, if you don't believe me, go back. Google it, Wikipedia, do whatever you can. And especially YouTube. Somebody had got to put it up. Go check out the hell that Justice Thomas had to go through back then compared to what's going on now. It is literally off of the proverbial chain. Totally contrast. So here we are now, 27 years later, all right? And this woman is not even looking at even trying to even get even a chance. She's getting less in the process than what Anita Hill got back then. And it didn't even come public knowledge way back then that Anita Hill or the committee that was in a deadlock back then, 7-7, it didn't even come to knowledge back then that the public didn't even know about this Clarence Thomas investigation until it was October, something like that. The Senate did it. And so the vote, I believe it was close. It was really close. I think it was something like 50, 46 or 52 to 48 vote or something like that, that Clarence Thomas ended up being confirmed by the Senate. It was something like that. I can't remember all these numbers, but it was really, 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 really close. And people want to talk about that there ain't no such thing as racism. They want to sweep it under the rug. I dare any of you to go back and look at that 1991 Senate lynching of Clarence Thomas then in 1991. And when it would literally disgust you and make you literally want to throw up and say, these are the people that we so-called elected. They ain't working for us. They working for the corporations. I mean, they only get so much money from the states anyway to represent, allegedly. But when they're getting paid, it's amazing how every one of them go up there and they ain't rich, but then they leave office, man, they filthy rich. Is it not a marvel to you what the hell is going on in this country? It is literally a marvel to me. But I tell you what, it would disgust you. And it's the same disgusting crap that is going on today in what they call politics. It's something. So don't tell me that everybody is interested in whether somebody slept with somebody or they laid with a whore or something like that. When you got the whole outhouse that's all done it, both male and female. But it ain't important until somebody comes up for office. Nothing is. and you can pay somebody to lie for you all day long. Then all of a sudden, let's look into these allegations. Makes no difference if it's true or false. It's sad.